So you work on your business for 5 years. You pour everything into it, blood, sweat, late nights, the sacrifices. And let's say you build it up to 500K a year in revenue. And then you decide to sell it. You talk to a broker and they come back with a valuation. You're expecting maybe 2 million, maybe 3 million, let's see. And they tell you 150K, maybe 200 if you're lucky. You're shocked, right? Like, how is 5 years of your life worth basically nothing? Here's how. You build a job and not an asset. And jobs don't sell for millions. Assets do. So in this video, I'm going to show you the difference between building something that sells for thousands versus millions, what buyers actually pay for, and how to build real value from day one, even if you don't plan to exit. So let's get into it. The fact of the matter is that most small businesses don't sell. They just close. The founder gets tired or sick or they want to do something else. They try to sell. Nobody wants it. So they shut it down and they walk away with nothing. Why? Because what they build only works with them inside the business. The business is the founder. If you remove the founder, the business dies. And buyers aren't stupid. They know this. So they're not going to pay you, large sums of money for something that falls apart the moment that you leave. When businesses do sell, they usually go from maybe 2 to 3 times EBITDA. So if you're making 100K profit, you might get 200K, you might get 300K. If you're lucky, if you're even going to find a buyer who wants to step into the business and basically take the job over from you, either way, it's not life-changing money after years and years of work in building the business, right? Meanwhile, systematized businesses sell for a lot higher multiples of EBITDA. Why? Because again, they're assets, they're not a job. So you can have the same profit, but you're getting way, way, way more when you're actually selling it, and it's going to be easier to sell it. So you might get double or triple the valuation just because of how it's actually structured. Why? Again, because buyers are not just buying your revenue, they're buying predictable cash flow that doesn't require you. Now, let me break this down. So predictable means revenue isn't based on your personal hustle. It comes from systems that generate customers consistently. That means marketing that runs, sales that close, delivery happens, all without requiring you personally to drive it. Cash flow means profit, not just revenue. So a business doing $1 million in revenue but making 50K profit isn't really worth much because you're going to get a multiple on the EBITDA and not on revenue in most cases. A business doing 300K in revenue, making 100K profit or 150K profit is going to be worth more, right? Because buyers care about what hits the bank account and not just vanity metrics. And the business not requiring you is the critical part. If you have to stay involved for the business to work, you're not really selling a business, you're selling a job, and nobody's going to pay a lot of money to buy themselves a job. They'll pay a little bit at best because they're basically buying your client list and hoping that they can figure out the rest. And of course, that your clients will stay after you leave the business. Now, there are basically 3 levels to this. Level 1 is you have a job. So basically, you're doing all the work. You're the product, you're the marketing, the sales, the delivery, and revenue stops when you stop. You're basically self-employed. And this sells for almost nothing because there's nothing to buy except maybe, like I said, a client list, which those clients might leave anyway once they don't get to work with you anymore, because if you're doing all the work, then, it all depended on your personal relationships and so on. When somebody new steps in, all of them might think like, well, is this new person as good? I don't know. I like the previous person. Maybe I need to find a different solution. Now, level 2 is you have a small business, you have some team, you have some processes, you have some systems, but you're still central to everything. So that means key decisions still go through you. Important client relationships are with you. The business kind of limps along if you're gone, but it doesn't really thrive, and it certainly is not going to grow, right? Now, this can sell for a higher multiple because the buyer knows they're taking a risk, but it's already better than, at least it's sellable, let's put it this way. Now, level 3, you have an asset. That means the business operates completely without you, right? The systems run it, team executes it. Now, yes, you are still involved in strategy, but you're not involved in operations. So that means the buyer can step in and it keeps generating cash flow. And that will sell for a lot higher multiple because the risk is way, way lower, right? So most founders are building level 2 businesses and then wondering why they're not getting level 3 valuations. You cannot get paid for independence that you did not build. So if you want your business to sell for real money and even to be sellable, you need to build these 4 things. First one, you need documented systems. Every major process written down, how you get customers, how you deliver value, how you support clients. A buyer needs to see that the business can run without your brain. You need clear team structure with accountability. Who owns what outcomes, who reports to whom, what each person is responsible for. Buyers need to see that the team can operate without constant founder input. Then you need predictable financial performance. That means consistent revenue month after month, healthy margins, clean books. Buyers are looking at 12 to 24 months of financial history. If it's all over the place, they'll see risk. If you're not tracking your numbers properly, that's a huge red flag. But if it's steady, they'll see stability. And then the next thing you need is transferable customer relationships. So that's the one that kills most founders. If all your customers know you personally and they're buying services from the company because of you, then that's not really transferable. Because when you leave, the clients or the customers might leave too, right? And buyers will discount heavily for this risk. But if customers bought your product or service because of what it delivers, systematically, not because of you personally, then that's transferable value. So now you might be thinking, okay, so what? I'm not planning to sell, so why does it even matter to me? Well, here's why it matters. Building a business for sellability makes your business better to run. In other words, a business that buyers want to buy is the exact same type of business that you want to own. Why? Let's have a look. Documented systems mean you're not the only one who knows how things work. You can take time off without everything falling apart. That's great, right? Clear accountability means your team owns outcomes instead of waiting for you to tell them what to do. Awesome, you're not the bottleneck anymore. Predictable financials mean you can plan and make decisions based on data rather than guessing, which means you know what's working, what's not working. You're not kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? Transferable customer relationship means that your business is not depending on you personally. You can grow the business beyond what you personally can serve, which again, great for you even if you never sell the business. All of this creates freedom for you, the founder, right? Whether you sell it or not, you've built something that doesn't consume your life. And at the same time, it creates optionality because maybe you don't want to sell today, maybe you're not even thinking about it, maybe you don't think it's possible for you because of the way how you built your business. But what if something changes? What if you want to start something new? What if you have an emergency? What if you get an opportunity you can't pass up? Or what if just, life happens and you need liquidity? If your business is sellable, then you have options. But if it's not, you're stuck running it forever or you'll be shutting it down and getting nothing in return. So I would say don't put this off, right? The time to build for exit value is now. It's not 5 years from now when you decide that you want to sell. It's not, when life happens and you got to scramble. That's not the time because by then it's going to be too late to change your foundation. If you build everything around you being essential, you can't suddenly become non-essential without rebuilding the whole business step by step. So I would suggest, the best scenario is you start documenting from day one being right now if this is the first time you're starting to think about it. So even if it's just you want to write down how you do things because this becomes the foundation for training people later. Build systems thinking into your growth. So when you hire, you don't just hire doers, you hire owners and you give them real responsibility. And when you're adding clients, do not make the relationships personal. Keep it professional and company focused. They shouldn't be there just because of you, right? When you make money, you want to invest in infrastructure, systems, optimizing the business, better tools, better processes, better documentation, and not just more marketing spent. You need to build the infrastructure. The businesses that sell for higher multiples were not built, the year before the exit or scrambling a few months before to kind of present an appearance of an organized business. They were built with sellability in mind most often from the beginning. But again, it's never too late. You are where you are, so start doing this now. Because if you don't do it, let me ask you an uncomfortable question. If you stopped working tomorrow, how long would your business survive? Is it a week? Is it a month? Maybe it wouldn't survive at all, right? That's your answer about how much it's worth. A business that dies without you isn't worth much. It's worth whatever someone might pay for your client list and maybe some goodwill, maybe you have equipment, depending on your business, but usually it's not much, okay? But a business that keeps running and generating cash flow without you, that's an asset. And assets get valued way, way more because they get valued based on the cash flow that they produce. Same business, same profit, structured completely differently. One is a job, one is an asset. The difference is whether you build systems or you stayed essential to the business. So you don't build a high exit by accident. You build it by making decisions from day one that create transferable value. You document systems, you build a team with real accountability, you create predictable financials, you make customer relationships about the business, not about you. And you do this even if you never plan to sell. Because why? Because it makes your business better to run and it gives you optionality. But if you do decide to exit, you'll get paid for what you actually build. Not for how hard you worked, not for all the hours that you put in during the years. Nobody cares about that. All they care about is how independent the business is from you. And that's the difference between struggling to even find a buyer and potentially selling it for life-changing money. And that's how you create the real wealth and not just a paycheck. And again, I'll leave you with this. The business that smart money wants to buy is the exact type of business that you want to own.